that's revealed in this documentary. We see her in doctor's visits. We see her trying to manage that pain, meanwhile trying to live up to the name Lady Gaga, performing around the world and trying to keep up with that busy schedule while working on her 4th studio album. So thank you so much for those of you who sent some questions in for Chris, the director. Of course, we are expecting Lady Gaga, who is going to be coming down here. And what's interesting is Lady Gaga hasn't seen the documentary herself in its entirety. So that will be special tonight. And also, as I mentioned, there will be a special performance from the star on stage for people that are at this screening here at the Toronto International Film Festival. So for many people, this is going to be a very amazing experience because you're going to be seeing a whole nother look at this star's life, but also getting a special performance. So I know a couple people, one of our writers at work said that he had tickets tonight for this special show. So definitely we know a lot of people are in for a treat. We're here at the Princess of Wales Theatre, and I can tell you the fans outside, there are so many, hundreds of people lined up just on King Street here. Now the whole street has been blocked off because this has been turned into essentially a festival walking pedestrian zone. Lots of vendors on the street right now, but tons of fans because they know Lady Gaga is in town. So, and as many Lady Gaga fans know, she calls her fans the little monsters. We can bet that they will be very excited about this documentary. So please send in your questions. We are going to be here, of course, until the Lady Gaga arrives. But we really appreciate Julia had also asked what's the main difference of doing documentary with a music star comparing to his other work, and we heard Chris talking about, from the first day she was just a really down-to-earth person, a very real person. So a lot of critics saying that this is a very authentic look and very raw look at some of those moments that maybe not other celebrities would be willing to let play out on camera. So that is something that's pretty interesting. So while we wait, I'm going to chat a bit about the festival this year. It's day 2 for those who are joining us, and just a quick reminder, we are here at Princess of Wales Theatre for the Lady Gaga red carpet, but many films that are going to be running across the city. We know that there are a lot of stars also that are going to be heading down and be at a number of red carpets around the city. One of those big stars will be Angelina Jolie. She has 2 films that will be premiering here at TIFF. And what's interesting is she's actually behind the scenes. So she's an executive producer as well as a director. One of those films is an animated Canadian feature that is called The Breadwinner. And it's set in Afghanistan, and it's about a young girl who has to go out and earn money for her family. We also know the other film is a film that is set in Cambodia, and it covers the genocide, and it's called First They Killed My Father, and that's a special project to her heart because her son Maddox was adopted from Cambodia, and he also served and has a credit as an executive producer on this film. He helped work on this film as well behind the scenes. She had adopted him at the age of 2 from Cambodia. So Angelina Jolie, one of the big stars that is going to be here. Also Idris Elba, we know, is going to be here as well for a couple of films. He has one with Kate Winslet, as well as another one with Jessica Chastain. So these are some buzzy names. We know George Clooney is expected. That's going to be a big red carpet that will be rolling out tomorrow. Many people are talking about Toronto rapper Drake, who is one of the executive producers of a documentary as well. So if you guys have any questions, definitely stay tuned. Stephanie Hakeem, you've sent in a question here. How did she get rid of her laryngitis in order to perform tonight when she had to cancel Monday's performance in Montreal? That's a very good question. We know many people are going to be wondering about how Lady Gaga is doing. She was sick. We heard her in that press conference earlier today. Her voice sounded okay, but who knows? Singing is a different thing. So thank you, Stephanie, for your question. We'll definitely ask her about her health and how she's doing. But keep sending in your questions for Lady Gaga because she will be here and we'll have an opportunity to go through them. So we really appreciate appreciate that. And someone else just mentioned, this is Christine Julia. Now, I like your question. I can't wait for the Tragically Hip documentary on Wednesday. Well, what's interesting is I was able to view that documentary. Now, what I can't do is actually talk about it because I am under embargo. We have to wait, of course, until the documentary premieres. But for anybody that was able to see the Tragically Hip on tour, I was lucky enough to be covering the Kingston show. It was an amazing show to watch, and a lot of those amazing moments on that man-machine poem tour across the country is captured in this documentary. So Hip fans are going to love it. And there's definitely some very magical moments. We hear from Gord Downie himself while all of this was going on, as well as his fellow bandmates. And what's interesting is many of us saw this story playing out in the headlines, but we never were able to actually hear from Gord Downie or the band themselves. They remained quiet during that tour. So now we're really getting a sense to hear what was going on behind the scenes. And so for Hip fans, that's going to be a remarkable documentary to watch. So keep sending in your questions. If you guys have any general questions about covering the film festival, it's actually my 3rd year on the red carpet. It's always a crazy busy time. We kicked things off yesterday, but this is when the real fun begins. That first opening weekend is when it gets pretty busy and pretty crazy. And after this, we are going to be running over to another red carpet, and that's just how quickly things change. So right now we're at the Princess of Wales Theatre waiting for Lady Gaga, but we'll be running across the street for another red carpet that's about an hour after this red carpet ends. But I'm hearing some screams outside, so that might mean that someone has arrived. We're not sure who. We'll definitely keep an eye on the door. But we're just going to take a look outside. Hey, Rob, can you see that big black car? No? Well, I can see it. I'm watching the door for all of you guys joining us on Facebook, so I'll let you know who may be coming out. We'll see. All right. This is always an exciting time, too. Hearing, oh, those screams are getting louder, people. I have to tell you, the energy in the city, we just had one viewer comment about how this really brings an international focus on Toronto. And if you haven't been to Toronto during the International Film Festival, it definitely is something to see. Even just to be in the city, walk down the street, see everybody excited, of course, not just for the stars, but just to celebrate cinema. And movie lovers from around the world come. You'll see a ton of film critics as well that are walking around the streets, getting and running from screening to screening. And when you get a chance to chat with people and find out where they're from and what festivals they've covered, you realize that, you know, movies, you're just talking movies. Everybody loves good movies. So it's quite a fun event to cover as well as a journalist. It's a nice treat for me to be here and be able to cover this as well. And I'm keeping an eye on this SUV here, people. I think she's close. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, the screening actually starts around 6 p.m., so we are hoping that Lady Gaga is here. We are just watching and waiting. But if you have questions for Lady Gaga, please send them in. All right, Nat Callahan wrote, "You're so lucky to be able to meet all those awesome celebrities." I am lucky, I must say. It's quite a fun experience. And yeah, I mean, this has been about 3 years. I'm going to turn back over to you guys. But still keeping an eye back out there. It doesn't seem like she pulled up. So yes, it's been about 3 years. I've been lucky enough to meet Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Jake Gyllenhaal, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, and the list goes on. And what I appreciate is when you genuinely are a fan of film and you genuinely like specific stars, when you meet them in person and they're just as nice as you'd hope, that is the best. And so I haven't had a horror story or a bad experience. I've been lucky that most of the stars, Helen Mirren was one of the most gracious women I've ever met. She is fantastic. I was pretty much fanning out before I was able to sit down with her and talk about one of her films, and she is just absolutely fabulous. I'm a huge fan of her. Mahershala Ali celebrity who won an Oscar this year. He is an amazing actor, but also a really great interview, very insightful. I spoke to him about Moonlight last year, which was the film that he starred in. So it's been great over the years. I have been able to meet a lot of celebrities, and it's even better when you can appreciate them as a person. And a lot of people are actually pretty nice. Tom Cruise, too. He's a nice guy. All right, guys, so it looks like that car drove off. No Lady Gaga yet, but we're going to keep watching and keep sending in those questions if you have them.
No, CBC is live. So I know you're live right now, but they're saying that we're going to have to group together.
Oh, are we going to be doing?
So if that's the case, I'm wondering if we could just bring her, or keep mics really low so that I can use your answer, you can use my answer.
Let's do it. That's perfect. Guys, that's teamwork. I'm here next to me. Cameron, say hi.
Hello,
we're live
everybody.
On Facebook.
This is in the house too.
Teamwork makes the dream work. ET, like I said, media from all around
the world. E-News, ET, and CBC
Hi, how are
News.
you? I'm Tashauna. Suri, nice to meet you. See, guys, it's a family affair. We play nice.
And we're finding out that Lady Gaga wants to just do 3 interviews, which means we're going to be grouped together.
So we'll be grouped probably number 2, I think?
Yeah.
Yep, 3 sets. So there we go, guys. There's some answers for you. But very soon we will have the Lady of the Hour, so that'll be great. But it's actually pretty fun on the red carpet because you do, like you see, you become friends pretty quickly with people, but also you have to work together. It's also very cramped. I don't know if you can get a sense, Rob, if you could show these guys what it looks like on the red carpet. We literally have little numbers in here, and that's exactly our position. So we have to get pretty cozy. I mean, 4, 5, and 6. There's 3 people as well as 3 cameras blocked in this short area. And I think this area is about 1 meter, so pretty tricky.
So what we thought we might do is if you get in the frame for a question, but then drop mics and kind of clear for her answer.
Great.
I'll get in a frame for a question.
And then we'll
drop,
do the thing.
Drop mics and clear for the answer so we can all use it.
Perfect.
And so on, so that we're all in evidence, but at the same time we can use all the answers.
That works for me.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
You're live, so it doesn't make as much sense, but you know what I'm saying.
It's all good. They're listening. You guys are listening to hear how we're doing this behind the scenes. It should be fun.
Yeah, well, for one. Hopefully we'll get
So, Rob, is my positioning okay? I'm going to talk shop for a few seconds, guys, just so we... All right. So, if you guys are just joining us, we are on the red carpet for Lady Gaga's documentary, Gaga 5'2", and Lady Gaga herself is about to walk the carpet. So now what we are going to be doing is we're going to be doing kind of group interviews. Some people call that a scrum, but we're working together. So 3 of us are going to be doing an interview at the same time. We each get to ask 1 question, and that's how it goes. So an opportunity for each of us to get a question into Lady Gaga. And we're going to make it work for everybody so we can hear from her. But thanks to everyone that is sending in questions. I'm still going through those. So someone just asked, what's 5'2" about? And Gaga 5'2" is essentially a look at the singer's life behind the scenes. So if you're just joining us now, we did speak with the director. His name is Chris, and he was just fantastic. But he was able to follow, his name's actually Chris Mukarble. I almost forgot his last name there. And he was able to follow Lady Gaga for about 8 months. So you could just imagine. But what's interesting about this documentary is it really gives a behind-the-scenes look at what she's dealing with. And one of those things that she's dealing with is chronic pain. So she opens up throughout the filming process about her struggle, and she genuinely is, still having to meet all those deadlines, perform. She was working on an album, but also behind the scenes dealing with this debilitating pain. So this is something that she opens up about. She allows the cameras to follow her to doctor's appointments. We see her in some very intimate moments, that most people, if they were sick and not feeling well, wouldn't want a camera following them, but she allowed people to see what she was dealing with. And this was filmed as she was working on her 4th studio album. This was her country music-esque album called Joanne. Many people remember some of her hit songs. And what's great, after the documentary screening, she will be performing for the audience here. So we're hoping that she's here. We're keeping the camera eye out there, just keeping watch to see when she will walk through that door. But as soon as she's here, don't worry, we will get right into it. And thank you guys for sending in your questions. Now, there also was a press conference earlier today where Lady Gaga did share some breaking news for a lot of her fans, and that was that she has decided to take a break. Now, what that means, for how long that will last, she says she's not entirely sure. She hasn't gotten that far yet, but she knows that she needs to take a break and she needs to rest. So that was something that was new today that Lady Gaga shared, the fact that she was going to be taking a break, but she says that doesn't mean she's going to stop creating. So she plans to continue to create music, to be a creative person, to write, but maybe not under the same pressures and deadlines and constraints that she normally would if she was writing and performing and selling a new album. So that's something for sure we'd like to ask her about, but also what it was like to open up on camera and to be so vulnerable. And she was asked about this in her earlier press conference, and she said that it was very hard, and she even took an emotional pause, but then she also said it was liberating. It was liberating for her to share about what she had been dealing with, because she knows that there are millions of people that also deal with the same pain or issues or health issues that she is dealing with. So that was something that she said she wants people to know, she wants her fans to know as well. Now, this again, red carpet premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. The first time Lady Gaga is seeing the film herself, if you're just joining us, so it'll be pretty interesting. I wish I could be inside so I can hear and get her thoughts. And now, the director said that she was able to see snippets of the doc, but she hasn't watched it from beginning to end. So, and after that viewing, she'll be doing a performance for all of her fans. So that's pretty exciting for the people that will be inside. And we're actually seeing fans are actually going inside at this point. And I have to give a special shout out to my camera person. This does not happen on its own. Rob Kravavrik is right behind me, and my producer Alice Hopton, if you guys are wondering. Tashauna Reid is not a one-person team. There's Alice. Say hi, Alice. There's three of us here. That's how we make TV magic. Pretty busy day, and after this same team, we're going to be running across the street for another red carpet. So if you can imagine that, it's quite a busy day, but I can't complain. This is talking about Lady Gaga, so that's pretty good. So we're still waiting to see if the star has arrived. I don't have eyes on her yet. But as you can see, this is the press lineup. This is where the media is, and I gave you guys a sense at how squishy it is in here. And this actually isn't too bad, because there are some red carpets that are you might see a lot of people. But here she is, guys. There is Lady Gaga.
Rob,
all right.
Okay? I'm good, Mike. Thank you.
Lady Gaga has arrived on her red carpet for Gaga 5'2". For those of you joining us, we are at the Princess of Wales Theatre. The director just walked by. There's some more members of her team, and here she is. Now I'm just going to bend down and get out of the way, but you can see she's wearing a pink coat. She's got some really cool, I can tell she's got high shoes on. But that is Lady Gaga, everyone. And in a few moments, we are going to have an opportunity to ask her a question. For those of you just joining us, we're doing a little teamwork here. Some of the other reporters on scene, we're going to be taking turns. We get one question each. So that will be the option that we have, as the screening starts in about 10 minutes, so she wants to make sure that she's able to speak with everyone.
shot, buddy.
All right, guys, so as you can see, we get to ask one question. So we're going to be doing essentially a group interview.
Robert, we're going to step back when she comes, right?
Sounds good.
What's that?
Sounds good.
And
What's that?
What color are you? I got
32.
Okay.
She looks pretty good at 32, buddy.
all right, guys. Hi. How are you? So nice to meet you, Lady Gaga. You look beautiful. I'm Tashauna with CBC News. A lot of vulnerable moments on screen in this documentary. Why was it so important for you to share your story?
I actually haven't seen the film yet. I'm going to see it for the first time right now. I wanted to share a bit of myself that I hadn't shared yet with the fans, but I didn't want to do it on my own. I don't think that I can be objective about myself. I don't think that I would have an ability to craft a piece of me. My biggest fear was that it would be a commercial or that it would lack in authenticity and would feel as though I was pandering to people to love me. So I gave Chris full access once I decided I trusted him. And I'm excited to see what they created. They're wonderful, amazing men in my life, and Chris is no exception.
Thank you.
I loved hearing about some of the more down-to-earth and relatable ways that Chris was telling us some insights into what some of the things that we'll see in this project, that you'll see for the first time in this project. One of the things that stood out for me is he said that you would run off stage on occasion and ask your boyfriend how your performance did in in a sweet, vulnerable way. And is that something that you would do, and why is his input important to you?
Well, it's not just about it being my boyfriend. I ask that of many people in my life and my family all the time. At the end of the day, I'm my father's daughter, I'm my mother's daughter, I'm my sister's sister. I feel so honored to be wearing my sister's jacket tonight that she designed with Lanata Studios, her company. They are so talented, and in a way, tonight for me is about her and not really about me, because this isn't my film. So I'm just happy to be here with my family and wearing our creations.
Are you nervous watching it?
No.
No?
I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah.
So are we.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, so that's Lady Gaga on the red carpet. There she is. She says she's actually wearing a design. Her jacket was designed by her sister. So very beautiful. Oh, and she looks amazing. But as you can hear, such a humble woman, larger than life personality and persona on stage, but speaking about how this isn't her film and it was something that she wanted to share with her fans. That was important for her. That was important to have this special night. We were only able to ask one question, so thanks guys to everyone that was able to send in their questions. I wish we had more time with her, but if you have a chance, she did do a press conference earlier today and spoke about working on this documentary. Did a quite lengthy press conference for TIFF as well. So this is the red carpet for Gaga, 5'2". Now, her height is 5'2", but she's much taller today. She's got some really cool shoes on. And if you're just joining us now, we just spoke with her. We also spoke with the director of the film. You could stay on Lady Gaga if you want, Rob. But, this is pretty exciting. This is what TIFF is all about. We get to see the people at the heart of film. This is a documentary that was filmed over 8 months. We see Gaga in some very vulnerable moments. And she spoke about what it was like opening up. And this is something she wanted to share with her fans. Now, for some of you just joining us, this is pretty much the wrap. We can see I hear some fans actually trying to get her attention. My first one would be great. That I did, yeah. So guys, are we still live here? Oh, we are. Yeah, so thanks to everyone who is writing in. Someone named David McDonald, sorry, I just saw your question. You said, where do you go after this? We go to Roy Thompson Hall. We have another red carpet, pretty exciting stuff. We're going to see Bryan Cranston. We've got, who else is going to be on that carpet? Oh my gosh, Kevin Hart. How could I not remember Mr. Kevin Hart? And also Nicole Kidman. So that is going to be really interesting. That is going to be for 7 o'clock. So if you're just joining us now, it's about 6 o'clock. Surprisingly, this is all starting on time. The screening for this Lady Gaga documentary is at 6 o'clock. And sometimes these things, given that we're dealing with celebrities, they're running around doing interviews, sometimes things don't go on schedule. But this just wrapped. We heard from Lady Gaga. We also heard from her director as well of her documentary. And we're also then after this going to another red carpet as well. So I mentioned Bryan Cranston, Nicole Kidman, as well as Kevin Hart, and that film is called The Upside. It's actually a remake of a French film called The Intouchables that was quite popular. I think it made $400 million worldwide at the box office, and so this is the reboot, if you will, with a very different take. Some American actors, but we'll see how that fares. It hasn't been screened yet. I haven't seen the film, so there is a screening right after this, but there's also some parties as well. That's the other big thing that we get to do. We are still working, so it's not really a party. You know, we might have to get in early, but it's an opportunity for us to see stars off the red carpet, maybe ask the questions that we didn't get a chance to ask as well. So that is always great. But this red carpet pretty much wrapping up. As we saw Lady Gaga, we saw the director of this as well, and we're able to ask some of our questions. Luckily, we each got a question in. Sometimes, depending on where you are on the carpet, you don't get all your questions in, but we managed to ask her about what it was like working on this. And thanks to everyone that has been sending in their questions. We definitely appreciate it. It's always fun being able to engage and share this experience with all of you. But thanks for watching. You can continue to watch our coverage on CBC News Network and CBC Entertainment. Check out our website. We've got lots of news stories, more on Lady Gaga there. You'll find out why she's taking a break from music right now if you head on over and check out our site. But thank you guys for watching. I'm Tashauna Reid for CBC News in Toronto.
So, don't go to Gene Simmons' house. She's really kind of old, right? So, there's this one point where his daughter.
Did you answer people who asked what carpet you're going to after?